How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. My name is Miles Gutierrez. Thank you for joining me today. Well, it has officially been announced that Neve Campbell is going to be returning to the Scream franchise after she posted the cover of the script, also confirming that Kevin Williamson is going to be directing Scream VII from a script written by Guy Busick. Now, on her Instagram post, she posted that she is excited about returning to play Sydney in Scream VII. That's Spyglass asked her in a very respectful manner if she would return to the Scream franchise, and how she's excited to work with Kevin Williamson behind the cameras for the very first time in the Scream franchise. And so I have a couple of thoughts on this, because this film has been having a lot of behind the scenes controversy, from Melissa Barrera getting fired, to Jenna Ortega quitting, to the radio silence team also quitting, and also Christopher Landon quitting. There has just been a lot of ill will when it comes down to Scream 7, because I have been losing interest in this franchise, and that is something that I never would have thought 10 years ago, because I absolutely do enjoy the Scream franchise. I'm going to get that out of the way. I really enjoy the Scream franchise. I think they are a lot of fun. And when it came down to Scream 5, I was mixed on it. I enjoyed it, but the characters, really played by Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, weren't really doing it much for me. Scream 6 is the one that really made me care about these characters, and just seeing how everything has been transpiring over the past couple of months, I've just lost interest. And so now that we have Neve Campbell coming back to the franchise, this feels like a desperate attempt to get the Scream fans back on board with this franchise, because they know that if they put out Scream 7 without Neve Campbell, without Jenna Ortega, without Melissa Barrera, without the core four there, then they're not going to make any money on Scream 7. Because even though I liked that they brought back the OGs, they brought back Neve, they brought back Courtney, David, just to get us on board with these new set of characters. I think one of the things that leveraged Scream 6 is the fact that they put more attention on these new characters for us to get behind. Because going into Scream 6, well, I was excited and I was really curious to see what they were going to do with this core 4. They gave us a story for us to care about these characters, and seeing how their progression was going to evolve over time. But just putting that aside, the behind the scenes drama with Scream 7 is something that has really tainted my excitement for Scream 7. And seeing that Neve Campbell is going to be coming back for Scream 7, it gets me curious to see what they're going to be doing. But also, I'm still not excited, even though she is coming back. What Scream 6 did was it gave Sydney a story conclusion. She's happy with Kincaid, she has her kid, and she lived happily ever after in her world. And making her come back to Scream 7 kind of undoes that in a way, mostly because I don't want this to be a wash, rinse, and repeat cycle that we have seen with the past Scream movies. Because even though they used her well enough in Scream 5, there could be an argument to be made that if you took Sydney out, the story of that movie would not have changed at all. It would have been the exact same movie. They just added Sydney in there. And then going into Scream 6, while I know there was a lot of behind the scene controversy with her not getting paid what she deserves to be paid for this franchise, going into Scream 6, I wanted to see what they were going to do without her. And I think it worked well enough, because I didn't miss Sydney in Scream 6. Now, I don't know if that's sacrilegious to say, but I actually liked that she wasn't included in Scream 6. Her story in the franchise has been wrapped up. What are we going to be doing with Scream 7 with Sydney? And I just don't want this movie to be a watch, rinse, and repeat cycle, even though most of the Scream movies, you can make an argument to say that they are a watch, rinse, and repeat cycle, because they're basically the exact same movie, just, wrapped up in a different story. There is an argument to be made for that. But to me personally, just behind the scenes drama of everything that's going on just doesn't have me as excited as I should be for another Scream movie. Because when she says that they asked her in a respectful manner, we all know that that means they paid her up. She said, hey, I want this amount of money. You either take it or you leave it. And then Spyglass over here is seeing how much the fan base is actually turning on them. They're saying, okay, you know what? You want this? We're going to give it to you. And that's exactly what they did. Otherwise, she would have never returned if they lowballed her again. If she went with a high price and they said, how about we just tone it down a little bit and we'll give you this. We all know she wouldn't be returning to the franchise. So when she says that they asked her respectfully, that means they paid her up. They whatever she wanted, she got it because they weren't going to do this movie without her, and they're definitely not going to be doing it without Jenna or Melissa because right now the fan base has already turned on this franchise. I'm not sure how many people are excited for another Scream movie because for me personally, I'm not as excited as I should be getting excited for Scream 7 because it just feels like they are trying to do a lot of damage control. They're trying to make sure the narrative is going in a positive way, but I feel like it's already too late to get the fan base back on board because there has just been a lot of ill will when it comes to this franchise. I'm not sure how many people are excited for another Scream movie, even with the announcement of Neve Campbell coming back. Because for me personally, what I wanted to see in Scream 7 is the continuation of Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. I wanted to see how their story would have wrapped up. You can make an argument in Scream 6 that they wrapped it up well. This just feels like a desperate attempt, and I want to be excited for another Scream movie. I'm just not. Even with the announcement of Neve Campbell coming back, they paid her what she wanted. She was happy with what she got, and now she's coming back to the franchise. What else can you do with Sydney in another Scream movie? Because it just feels like we've already gone through basically all the motions of her story, and they gave her a really nice send off in Scream 6. I just don't want this movie to be a watch, rinse, repeat cycle, even though that's exactly what I feel like it's going to do. What this feels like is just a desperate attempt to get the Scream fan base back on board to get excited for another Scream movie, but I feel like all the excitement for it has already been wasted on the behind the scenes controversy because a lot of the fan base has already turned on this franchise, and I want to be excited for another Scream movie, but there's already way too much baggage with Scream 7. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I hope they're able to pull it off. I hope that they're able to give us a fun story and give Sydney a great story. I'm just not as excited as I should be. But those are my thoughts on Neve Campbell coming back to the franchise. Are you excited, or did the behind the scenes just tamper your expectations for this movie? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys for the next video.